I recruited Goody to create the most difficult challenge in RuneScape history. A new game mode so punishing that a single point of damage will render an account completely unplayable. A game mode so devastatingly difficult that every achievement feels incredibly impressive, while many will be deemed to be completely impossible. Welcome to Nightmare Mode. It's been over a year since the first Nightmare Mode account was created, a game mode that probably never should have existed in the first place. Fast forward to today, and I'm in the middle of a miracle run. I've completed 2 of 3 phases of goals that I set for the account. The Fire Cape, and 116 Barrows runs with 0 damage to get a full set of tank armor. There's one goal left. In this video, I'll be facing the hardest challenge I've ever attempted. And if I take damage, my last year of progress gets deleted. Welcome to the final episode of Nightmare Mode. When I started this series, I told you that I was searching for the human limit of what's possible. I wanted the final challenge to be the pinnacle achievement of what a damageless run can accomplish. So I'm doing exactly that. Welcome to Phase 3, the Fortis Colosseum. The Colosseum was added to the game on March 20th, 2024, making it the second Grandmaster level wave-based minigame. It's got an insanely high skill ceiling, brutally difficult mechanics, modifiers that are chosen every wave to make your life harder, and an iconic boss fight to top it all off. If you're good enough, a best-in-slot reward awaits you at the end, the Quiver. The best range cape in the entire game, and it's not even close. Experienced players with some of the best gear and stats in the game struggle to complete the Colosseum. And if you've ever stepped foot into it, you can immediately understand just how impossible it sounds to do a completely flawless, no damage run, let alone doing it with extremely mediocre gear while super underleveled. A low-life 109 Colosseum completion is about as close to impossible as it gets. But that's the thing, it is possible, and I'm gonna prove it to you. I really need to start getting ready for the Colosseum, which is a bit of a risky task in and of itself because I need to use melee on the final boss if I were to get there, and 30 strength is not going to cut it. To give you some perspective on our goal here, the Colosseum is a dangerous death for hardcore Iron Man accounts, and since it released, only 90 hardcore Iron Men have completed it. I was shocked when I learned this. That's how few people want to risk their account at the Colosseum, even with access to as much healing as they want. Of those 90 hardcore Iron Men, this is a chart of their average combat stats. You'll notice that most hardcores won't touch the Colosseum until they're basically completely maxed out. Most of the dots are glued to the top of this chart with a couple outliers here and there. And then there's Lowlife 109, with the lowest average combat stats of them all. This is what I plan to attempt the Colosseum with. If I want any chance of doing this, I need to eat, sleep, and breathe Colosseum. I need to know every scenario, every solve, in and out, and I'm gonna spend months doing exactly that. I would like around 80 strength before I go in, but the problem is I have no good way of training melee on this account, unless I have a ton of prayer pots or I go kill 200,000 seagulls. But there is one thing I know I want for sure. The combat bracelet. It's a great all-around upgrade, especially for melee, and that's gonna be crucial in the Colosseum, but to make it, I need 74 crafting. That's gonna take some GP that I don't have right now, so it's time to change that. I have no idea how long I'm gonna stay here, but the Woodcutting Guild is gonna be my home for a little while. It's a safe way of making money, it's AFK, and I need money for a lot more than just this 74 crafting goal. So I'm gonna start at 63 woodcutting, 65 fletching. I've got some strategies to cook up for the Colosseum, and there's our first log. I will see you. For you, it's gonna be pretty quick. It's gonna be like not a lot of time for you at all. 70 woodcutting. Quick update, 7,300 U-logs. I'm gonna go for 8,000, and we're gonna start picking some flax. Enjoying the view, because I'm gonna be here for the next, like, 6 hours or so. And there it is, 8,300 flax. This is gonna put a dent in the crafting for sure. Got to 78 fletching. These are my last 4 bows, and that's 8,000 total strong. Let's go make some money. We're already up to 1,000,000 GP. The bows are selling for roughly about 700 each. Short bows are a little less. And the final 5, almost 5 million GP from that grind. Yes, it may have taken a long time, but I have all the money I need. Everything I need for the Colosseum is in my inventory. Okay, not everything, but the money is a very, very good start. I just spent 100 hours making 5 million GP, but you could spend a lot less time saving real money with today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. In today's subscription-based world, it's easy to lose track of stuff. I'm subscribed to like a million things, and sometimes I forget about that thing I only wanted to try for a month. So my favorite feature about Rocket Money is it not only tracks all my subscriptions when they renew, but they can cancel these subscriptions for me with just a few clicks. No more calls with customer support or searching for a cancel button, but this is an all-in-one finance platform. They help me create custom budgets, monitor my credit, lower my bills, grow my savings. It's all laid out in front of me with one nice interface. You can upload photos of your bills and Rocket Money will negotiate them lower for you. Rocket Money has helped save its members up to $740 a year with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. And you can get started for free by clicking my link in the description or going to rocketmoney.com/settled and joining the 5 million members already using it. Get started for free or unlock even more features with premium. And now back to the finale. To get crafting started, we're gonna need to buy a ton of sand and soda ash, and this is the best place to do it. Probably around 12 to 14 hours to get everything we need. So let's talk about some important stuff while I stock up. I have a lot to brief you on, but I'm gonna avoid dumping all of it on you at once. So to put things as simply as possible for now, if I wanna beat the Colosseum, I'll have to kill this guy, Soul Heretic. You have to use melee in this fight, and it's gonna require mechanical perfection. But my gear and stats will determine how long I need to be mechanically perfect for to kill the boss. If I get there, of course. To put it in perspective, with my current gear and stats, I would need to do 70 straight minutes of perfect no damage Soul Heretic to survive the fight. That's, dare I say, impossible, so the goal is to get that number to almost impossible. I'll be referring to this as perfect soul time from here on out. It's going to be the main metric that tells me if our gear and stats are good enough to attempt the Colosseum. But 70 minutes is a long way from possible. Getting a combat bracelet is part of that puzzle. It's going to shave a few minutes off that 70, but nothing is going to be quite as impactful as getting my melee stats up and getting a better weapon. Either way, the main priorities right now, find a good way to train melee and get this 74 crafting done. Okay, we are 20% of the way there. I need 10,000 sand and soda ash for 74 crafting. I made a dent in that. Let me grab this prayer potion. I have a bit of a plan. So I think I finally answered the question, how do I train melee safely without prayer potions? I could kill like 200,000 seagulls. They have a max hit of 0, as we know. But I think I have something better. There is one place in RuneScape that technically allows me to take damage. Nightmare Zone. Yeah, who could have guessed? Nightmare mode, Nightmare Zone. This very old minigame that lets you refight quest bosses that you've already defeated is the key to my melee training for one reason, and one reason only. The Absorption Potion. This potion can only be used inside this minigame. It's very niche. When you drink it, it allows you to absorb 50 damage that would have otherwise hit you. Which means, if I had enough of them, I could fight monsters that have a lot more health than a seagull and be completely safe while doing it. I could even prayer flick and have damage absorption under it as a safety net. To start Nightmare Zone, I first need to have beaten 5 different quest bosses, so that's the goal. First quest on the list is Vampire Slayer, which shouldn't have any risky parts at all. Everything can just be prayed against, so it should be nice and easy. I think at one point these candles did damage if you walked directly in the center of them. I'm not even going to be trying that, but I'm pretty sure it's not a thing anymore. Anyway, Count Drainer dead, Vampire Slayer done, on to the next one, and some attack XP, which is going to help. We are going to need that way higher. The next quest I decided to do ended up being one of the biggest bullets I've dodged across the entire account's history. but not in the way you might think. The quest is Witch's house, and the boss is this experiment in her shed. Every phase of this can be negated with Protect from Melee, which makes it pretty simple. I handed the boy his ball, the quest was done, and I had officially unlocked the Witch's experiment in Nightmare Zone as my 5th boss, so I can go do the minigame now. To get absorption potions, I need points from Nightmare Zone, which I get from killing bosses in the minigame. I'll need a lot of points. But I remembered back in the day when I used to do this minigame, the Witch's experiment was really bad points per hour because it had 4 different forms, and you only got points after you killed all of them. So I was debating doing the Grand Tree quest to unlock a different boss instead for this very reason. Trying to find some information on points from the Witch's experiment, I went to its wiki page, and that was an amazing choice. On both the normal and hard mode difficulty in the minigame, the experiment uses an ability that reduces combat stats and deals a small amount of damage. Okay, I actually have to test that. This could have potentially saved my life. I gotta see if that's real. Yup. Wow, Protect from Melee just doesn't work on it in Nightmare Zone for some reason. It does in the quest, but not in Nightmare Zone, and I wouldn't have absorption pots for this. I would have taken damage here. I just took 6 damage through Protect from Melee. Massive bullet dodged. So at this point, I had no other choice. I had to go do the Grand Tree to unlock the Black Demon as my 5th boss for the minigame. I gotta say, an extra quest is a small price to pay for what could have happened if I went in there with the Witch's experiment. That was the only dangerous part of the quest, and it wasn't even dangerous. Let's go finish this thing up. As if I needed another reason to do this quest, it also gets me 4 extra attack levels, 18,000 XP, so that's gonna speed up my training a bit. This should make enough prayer potions for our entry into Nightmare Zone. All right, time to do our first run. Each run is gonna cost me like 24 to 26k. Probably pretty good if I take that one off. Yeah, looks pretty good. Oh, all right, the boss is spawned. I'm using range right now because my melee is way too weak to damage these guys. So the goal is just to farm a bunch of points, load up on absorption pots, and then I come back here with melee when I'm ready. So for the next hour, I'm just gonna be glued to my screen, watching my prayer like a hawk. I will not let it drop. Let's just farm a ton of points. Nice. That second run was a lot more successful. I'm at 190k points now. I can buy a ton of absorption pots now, and we'll train melee here as soon as my melee stats aren't complete garbage. That's the next step now. First things first, we're going to be buying a brand new weapon. This rune sword will be the best I can do for a while. It looks like either way, I have to kill some seagulls just to get the ball rolling with my strength, but it's going to be more like 10,000 seagulls versus like a few 100,000, and that's manageable. I went ahead and grabbed myself some climbing boots for an extra 2 strength bonus. They're my best in slot boots for the Colosseum, and they'll help me out a little bit now too. Then I spent the entire day killing seagulls, finishing the night off with 45 strength, which is a big jump from the 30 I started with. Now that I had a foothold into melee training, I decided to finish off my other loose end, 74 crafting. Buying all the sand and soda ash ended up being about 20 hours, turning it all into glass was another 6 hours, and then turning that glass into lantern lenses for the bulk of the XP was another 5 hours. But in the end, there it is, 74 crafting, which means one thing left to do to get this upgrade. All I need now is a dragonstone, which I can get by exchanging 300 stardust for a bag of gems, and then it's a 20% chance from the bag of gems. Moment of truth, 1 bag of gems. Yes, we got it. Okay, let's go make our bracelet. Beautiful. With the addition of this combat bracelet and all the stats we've been training, we've got our perfect soul time down to 33 minutes, which is a massive improvement over the 70 we started at. And the combat bracelet is going to be a nice boost for training, so I'm really glad we got it early. And we're on the cusp of another massive gear upgrade, just getting this rock currency in order. Biggest upgrade to the gear, full obsidian acquired. Costed me about 1.8 mil GP, but it's worth every penny because this is basically the only armor I can get my hands on for strength bonus. What a sick gear setup on an account that has never taken damage. I mean, seriously, it looks so good. And I'm gonna get another 10% strength and accuracy boost once I get an obsidian weapon to go with this. There's really only one thing left to do now, and that's train. I'm targeting a strength level around 80 before my first Colosseum attempt, and the gear upgrades just made that a lot easier. Yes, there we go, 60 attack. I can finally leave seagulls. I've killed Was like just under 11,000 it looks like to get 60 attack, 56 strength. One final upgrade needed to finish off the melee training, the Obsidian Sword. Now that I have 60 attack, I can equip it. We should be able to make Nightmare Zone work now. Our gear is good enough, and it looks pretty damn sweet. The perfect soul time continues to drop, but we still have more work to do. I have over 100 hours of melee training ahead of me, and my only job is to never let my absorption counter hit 0. That's the only thing that could put the account at risk in here. This is the first time in the account's history that I could, in theory, go AFK for a few minutes, and it's easy to get complacent with that, so I really have to control myself. Big level coming in, 65 strength. We're making a lot of progress. I decided to grab the tank armor from the bank because if I ever need to leave for a couple minutes, this triples my absorption time. There's 75. It's getting faster as we go, but probably got another week here still. I think it's about time I added 2 very important weapons to the arsenal. All right, the long-awaited 80 strength. We have made massive strides in the perfect soul time. I have every level I need. When I started this grind, I was afraid I'd let my attention drift at some point and take damage here, but making it through to the other side with the stats I wanted, ironically, gave me a harsh dose of reality. This was really gonna happen. Lowlife 109 is at 900 hours of playtime with no damage taken. I've almost played this account for 1,000 hours flawlessly, and I really cherish it. I've already accomplished so much. People said Phase 1 was impossible. They said Phase 2 was destined to be the end. But what I plan to attempt here is in a league of its own. I can't even imagine what I'm gonna feel when it's time to go in there. I'm putting everything I've accomplished, nearly 1,000 hours on the line for one chance at perfection. I started to doubt myself. It's possible, but it doesn't mean it should happen. Is this something I'm capable of? It's way too unrealistic. But there was no turning back. It's been over a month since the perfect soul time was 70 minutes. Today, it stands at just over 10. The impossible just became almost impossible. While you've been watching me lower the perfect soul time, I've spent an unhealthy amount of time in the Colosseum over the last few months. But before I show you anything or explain anything, I want you to listen to this clip. I recorded it on my first day of practice. I have a very real fear that I spend the next few months practicing this, and then I walk in there on the Nightmare account, and my account gets deleted on wave 1. Like that's an actual possibility, which is terrifying. That's a pretty fair assessment. Take a look at the 3 wave-based minigames. The Colosseum only has 12 waves compared to the Fight Cave 63 or the Inferno 69. But the difference is that every single wave poses a massive threat to my account. In large part, that's because of these guys, the Fremennik Warband. At the start of every single wave, the Warband comes out, sporting 1 melee, 1 ranger, and 1 mage. Do you see the problem here? 1 of every single combat style. If that wasn't bad enough, they're the fastest NPC in the game, and they ignore all obstacles. They will always find you no matter what. They can't attack you until you stop moving, which you will have to do if you want to kill them. But there's one mechanic that allows you to take 0 damage every time, and it's the reason this entire thing is possible in the first place. And it's the walk. But before I tell you about the walk, you're gonna need to know what a game tick is. It's a unit of time. 1 game tick is 0.6 seconds. Every Old School Runescape server runs on the tick system. When I click to walk 1 tile, the server will make it happen on the next game tick. So walking a tile takes 1 tick. Running 2 tiles also takes 1 tick, and shooting this bow, that takes 3 ticks. The Fremennik Warband attacks on a 6-tick cycle, but unlike every other NPC in the game, Jagex had to ensure that they wouldn't attack you at the same time. To avoid that, each Fremennik essentially has an assigned game tick, one after the other. Remember, their attack cycle has 6 ticks. We choose a modifier to make our life harder, and then we click the button to begin the wave. Since we clicked the button on tick 6, the melee Fremennik will always try to attack on tick 2. the mage always on tick 3, and the archer always on tick 4. This means on tick 5, 6, and 1 of the cycle, none of them are attacking me. Since they can only hit me if I'm standing still, as long as I'm in motion on ticks 2, 3, 4, I can stop on ticks 5, 6, and 1 to do damage. A bit of an added challenge here is that I'll have to switch to the correct weapon to attack each Fremennik. I'll have to use range on the major, melee on the archer, and mage on the melee. Using the correct combat style will guarantee a max hit, so it's crucial I switch weapons for each Fremennik. Doesn't sound too bad, right? But to realize the scope of this, you need to understand that this is the foundation. This is just a guaranteed obstacle every wave, while I deal with everything else. Did I mention I only have 40 seconds to kill all 3 Fremenniks? Because 40 seconds into every wave, reinforcements will come out of the closest gate and path directly to you. This means I'm no longer able to do the walk. I have to hug the pillar so that I don't get hit by the reinforcements. So it's a race against the clock while I also deal with whatever spawns south of me. For example, this is a Manticore. It attacks with all 3 styles 1 tick after the other. I'll have to pray against all those attacks while making sure I never stop on a dangerous tick. The margin for error here is massive, and this is only the second riskiest spawn I can get. You can take a look at this Wave 11 example on the practice account. It's been a completely flawless run so far. And then... What? How did I don't know how I just took damage. What did I do? That would be such a devastating way to go on the real thing. I couldn't even understand how I took damage here at first, but without noticing, I stood still on a dangerous tick for a Fremennik and took a hit. That's all it takes. A few hundred milliseconds of bad judgment, and you're done. So if this is the second riskiest spawn I can get, what's the first? 13% of the time, I'll get 2 monsters attacking me from the south while I have to deal with the Fremenniks. We call this a double south spawn, and if it happens, it's a nightmare scenario. It's not impossible to deal with perfectly, but making sure that they're not attacking on the same tick, then keeping track of 2 staggered attack cycles, while keeping track of 3 Fremennik attack cycles, switching to the correct weapons in between kills, always walking on dangerous ticks, attacking on safe ticks, with only 40 seconds to execute? This is the most dangerous situation in the Colosseum. Nothing comes close. And even though I've practiced for a situation like this, I have to accept that I won't have this kind of confidence in the real run. It's just unrealistic. This is already difficult enough to pull off with a level head and keeping calm, let alone under extreme stress. And it especially shouldn't be attempted on Wave 11. You throw a Manticore into this monster mix, and it gets very dicey. I've actually gotten the hang of that now, which is crazy, but I'm never gonna feel good about that on the real run. No way. Over the last few months, I've attempted nearly 500 damageless Colosseum runs. Across all 500, 3 waves were responsible for over half of all failed attempts. This includes teleporting away or taking damage. Waves 6, 10, and 11. But a clear standout is Wave 6. This is the hardest wave in the Colosseum for a 0 damage run. That's because it has a much higher risk of a double south spawn due to the Serpent Shaman. It's a 1-by-1 enemy, which means there are less spawns that trap it behind the pillar. Wave 6 is a roadblock to getting a deep run. Then, if you can make it past that, Waves 10 and 11 come pretty damn close when it comes to ending runs. After the marathon that is the first 11 waves, you have the dreaded Wave 12. Across all 500 attempts, less than 5% of them made it all the way to Soul Heritage. This boss is a demon. There's an insane amount of mechanics, but ultimately, this is a test of memory and pattern recognition. There's actually a combat achievement in-game to do a perfect kill. I was able to get the perfect footwork achievement on my 4th ever Colosseum completion, which was pretty promising since I hadn't even started going for damageless runs yet. But with the best gear in the game, the kill time was only 2.5 minutes. My perfect soul time on Low Life 109 is 4 times longer. And this task allows damage from pools of sand. The fact that these little pools are as dangerous as anything else in the Colosseum is terrifying. Soul will spawn dozens of these across a fight, and stepping in just one of them is game over, making the kill significantly harder. During the final 10% of the fight, Soul will spawn these pools completely randomly every 3 game ticks, which throws quite a bit of luck into what is already a marathon of mechanical mastery. Of the 24 runs I had that made it to Wave 12, only 7 made it through with 0 damage. 7 perfect damageless practice runs out of 500, leaving my Soul Heritage success rate at 29%. That statistic alone is pretty hopeless, but on one fateful day of practice, the math revealed something staggering to me. This is every soul attempt I had. I looked back on every point of damage I had taken, and I was taking damage to the final 10% of the boss a lot. Molten Sand was a big detriment to my success rate, so I got a little curious. What if these kills were just a bit shorter? Short enough to where there was a few less sand pools in that final phase. The success rate made a massive jump. When we adjust for a perfect soul time of 7 minutes, it goes to 50%. Reducing the perfect soul time by a further 3.5 minutes would eliminate 14 random sand pool spawns on average and give me a coin flip's chance of getting this thing done if I'm lucky enough to make it to the boss. If only there was a super fast shortcut I could take to shave 3 entire minutes from my perfect soul time, that would be crazy. But nothing is going to be quite as impactful as getting my melee stats up and getting a better weapon. In June of 2022, a weapon was added to the game that would change the landscape of Nightmare Mode Colosseum runs forever. Okay, yeah, I know, no one else is attempting this, or ever will, probably, but seriously, I couldn't believe my eyes when I learned about this thing. My practice runs have been assuming a perfect soul time of over 10 minutes by using a Dragon Longsword and Dragon Dagger as the main weapons in the arsenal. But this weapon blows both of them out of the water. I want you to meet the Colossal Blade. It's a massive two-handed sword that's incredibly accurate and powerful, but something I didn't know about it is that it has a passive effect. The Colossal Blade is stronger on monsters that are larger. You can get up to 10 extra max hits with this thing if the target you're fighting is 5x5 or larger. Guess the size of Soul Heritage. 5x5. This makes the Colossal Blade an insanely potent weapon on this boss. It immediately lowers my perfect soul time to 7.5 minutes. It's a reward from the smithing minigame Giant's Foundry. All you need to do is the Sleeping Giants quest, which I've fully vetted as being completely damage-free, and the minigame itself is also completely safe. So I knew exactly what I needed to do. I just used all my Ensouled Heads from Ogres, which got me to 60 prayer. Probably the final prayer level I'll ever get on this account if I had to guess. And while I'm at it, here's the Children of the Sun quest completed. It's no risk and very short, but it unlocks access to Varlamore, which is where the Colosseum is, so it's pretty important. I need one last thing for Giant's Foundry, so I came over here to grab 49 mining. The +1 mining boost from the Dwarven Stout allows me to mine this rock pile. And we kill the Ice Queen. Prey Melee gets the job done down here, so it's no stress. And we get our Ice Gloves, which are going to help a lot in the Giant's Foundry. I never have to use a water bucket. This quest is basically just a tutorial for the minigame, so it's super easy. There's 6,000 smithing XP, and now we can actually get started. I have 0 Foundry reputation, and the Colossal Blade costs 5,000. It's the most expensive item in the shop, but I think I can get this done in under 12 hours. The Giant's Foundry allows you to use weapons and armor in place of metal bars, so I bought a ton of iron and bronze stuff I could melt to start off. The minigame is pretty simple. You just create swords for giants, heat it, cool it, sharpen it. The better the sword with less mistakes, the more XP and reputation you get. Okay, just finished my first sword, which gives me 52 Foundry reputation, which was like 4 to 5 minutes, so I just have to do that 99 more times. We are halfway there, 2,500 Foundry rep right now. I'm moving on to Steel and Mithril. It should be a little faster, and Giant's Foundry is profitable, so cash isn't really a problem. Exciting times. This is the last sword I will ever make a Giant's Foundry. Took 12 hours, but it was so worth it. Nothing really matches what this sword can do for me. There we go. Colossal Blade unlocked. What an incredible item with the best passive effect ever. I got up to 64 smithing getting this blade, which is pretty sweet, and the perfect soul time has just immediately been lowered to 7.5 minutes. To shave off the remaining 40 seconds, I went back to Nightmare Zone for some attack levels. I got so paranoid that I enabled the red flash every time I'm under 900 absorption. I'm so stressed out that I'm gonna take damage before the Colosseum attempt. I can't let that happen. So I get like a tray notification every time I go below that absorption amount. All right, I just got 76 attack, which means I officially have a perfect soul time under 7 minutes right now, which is, I can't believe it's real. It's almost time to go in. Good morning. The attempt is officially today. I gotta go grab some things. These Black Warlocks are a really good substitute for a super strength potion. They're barely worse, and they'll be super nice to have if I make it to the final boss. Just barely managed to get the Herblore level for this. Super attack potions acquired, so that's one less thing to worry about. Alright, this is our setup. We're on our way to the Colosseum. We've got the Colossal Blade for melee, Rune Crossbow for range, some blood runes for airwave, so I can take out the melee Fremenic. That's the only use for magic in this whole run. You may have noticed we are wearing the Barrow's armor, the full tank set that we worked for in Phase 2. I think a really likely mistake I can make is messing up the walk. It's something I have to do every single wave, and if I do accidentally attack or stand still on a dangerous tick, the melee and range Fremenics have a 72% chance to do damage. Unless I'm wearing the tank armor, then it's only 34%. I genuinely think this is the most stressed and anxious I have been playing this game ever. I'm terrified. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the Colosseum. It's finally time to put everything on the line. Hundreds of hours practicing, almost 1,000 preparing the account. All I have to do? Roll every correct modifier, perfectly walk the Fremenics every wave, deal with every reinforcement, deal with every double south, flick every manticore, solve every monster stack, make sure my prayer never drops, never misclick, never lag, and then do a perfect 7-minute Soul Heretic fight where I dodge every sand pool. Just turned on the heart rate monitor so you guys can kind of feel what I'm feeling. I know I can do this. I just have to prove it one more time. I was gonna say, if I have one regret on this account, it's that I never got that damn cannon. The cannon that 107 accounts died trying to unlock in episode 1. But I don't regret it. Not getting that cannon is the reason I'm about to go into the Colosseum. I was gonna use it to do a much safer, uninspiring Phase 3, chasing zero risk combat achievements, and Nightmare Mode can't end like that. Getting a quiver with 0 damage would make Lowlife 109 one of the most impressive accounts ever made on the game. The least I could do is try. Holy shit. This is actually happening. Gonna have to drop my prayer potion here to make room for the shield to come off. Where I'm standing right now is the starting tile for every wave in the Colosseum. NPCs can't spawn within 4 tiles of you in each direction, so as long as you run to the pillar a tick before the wave starts, you can get the best spawns possible and not take any damage right off the bat. There's one last thing to talk about, and that's modifiers. You have to take one before every wave. There's 34 in total, but only 16 of them are safe enough for me to take throughout a run. What's great is that most of these safe modifiers punish taking damage, which is something I can't do anyway, which means they're not really gonna nerf me any harder than I've nerfed myself. If I run into a situation where all 3 of the modifiers after a wave are dangerous, I have to leave. Okay, let's do it. I don't have NPC attack options. Oh, I don't want to take damage on wave 1. I would teleport it immediately. NPC attack options were on right click. I lost a prayer potion for that too. It probably would have been fine, but I cannot take damage on wave 1. I'm not risking it. Let's go back to the trusty Chronicle as our emergency teleport. Okay, let's do it right this time. I don't want to speak too soon, but that's probably a wave 1 with no damage. Serpent Shaman dead. Now just an easy safe spot. This is the Jaguar Warrior. He has a max hit of 141, but for me, every NPC is equally terrifying, so that doesn't really matter. This pillar creates a nice safe spot for him on both sides. Ah, no wave 1 death. I can breathe a small sigh of relief about that. No wave 1 death. Alright, wave 2. Double south. No, I can't. It's not worth it. It's wave 2. I couldn't find it in my heart to do that on wave 2. I'll get back there so easily. It's just, that wasn't worth the risk. Alright, let's try this again. Nice. Nice and easy spawn. Okay, we've got our first ranger, and then we're done with the wave. This is the Javelin Colossus. 15 tile attack range, really high HP and defense, and every 5th attack, he'll toss a javelin into the air that you have to move away from. Damn, that was a long kill. Wave 2 done. Not the best modifiers. Bees and Solar Flare, really bad. I just have to take Blasphemy here and hope I get something good next wave. Quick note about modifiers. Once you level up a modifier once, it's more likely to get offered again in the future, so it's important to get a variety of safe ones selected in the first few waves, so I have better chances of avoiding dangerous ones later. Nice, good spawn. Oh, the high javelin is so scary. I've practiced that a million times, but it's so scary. Javelin dead. Melee dead. Now just an easy corner trap. This might look scary, but we call it a corner trap. It only works if you're north or south of a corner and the NPC is west or east of it. We can thank the NPC pathing code and how they prioritize movement for this, but corner traps won't solve a monster stack most of the time. But right now, it's an easy way to take 2 separate fights. These are the easiest waves in the Colosseum, and I'm so stressed out. Alright, wave 3 complete. We're gonna see a Manticore. We are not gonna see a Manticore. Wow, that's so unlucky. 3 impossible modifiers, that's so unlucky. I'm forced to claim my loot and leave. They're too dangerous to continue, which really sucks, but hey, at least we get our first Sunfire Splinters on a damageless account. That's an achievement of some sort. Let's go resupply and do it again. Getting pretty familiar with wave 1 at least. Really would have liked to see a second safe modifier here, but just gonna do it. We need another safe modifier here, please. Nice, we got Manta Mayhem. That's a good one. I want to avoid taking Myopia as long as I can. That's going to reduce my attack range. Alright, should be a wave 4. Ooh, okay, we got Frailty. Frailty is one of the safe modifiers I can take, but there's something you should know about it. As it says in the description, it lowers your maximum HP by 10%. There's no hit splat or damage done, so it's free to take. But for the first time ever, the HP bar above my head that is always fully green will have some red in it. Because this whole bar for me is 1 HP. Frailty is basically reducing my 1 HP by 10% to 9/10 of a hit point. It's more than 0, but it will look a little weird above my head. As long as this says 1, I'm alive and haven't taken damage. Okay, first wave 4. Good spawn. I like that. Our first major in the reinforcements. This is gonna suck for the next few waves. Okay, we shuffle him out of there. And easy. Okay, time for the first Manticore. The Manticore doesn't charge up any attacks until it sees you for the first time. Then it chooses either range or mage to start its cycle of 3 attacks. They're all 1 tick apart, and missing any of them is fatal. Oh, okay. We're looking at a wave 5. And a combat achievement, which is... I think that's just no damage from a Manticore. Gonna have to take Blasphemy 3 here. Yes, good spawn. Love to see it. Reinforcements. First real monster stack. My god, my heart. I went completely non-verbal during this in the moment, but I plan to solve this stack by doing a major lure out. You walk out praying range, and then pray mage on the walk back in, and you pull the major close to you and isolate it. It works every time as long as you don't run back to the middle of the pillar. I panicked. I don't know why I ran back like that. Now I've got this. Gotta try to isolate. Just wanted to get the timing for that. This is gonna feel like a really weird solve, but it's what I feel most comfortable doing. Nice. Oh my god. Oh, there we go. Made that so much harder than it needed to be. Okay, major dead. Now it's pretty easy. Just gonna rotate to the south pillar, range pray first. Zero damage Colosseum is all about the path of least resistance. When presented with multiple solutions to a problem, I try to minimize my margin of error. Isolating every single fight when possible is the key to reducing risk. Even if I can do something, it doesn't mean I should. I had an option to fight the Manticore and Ranger very safely here, but rotating pillars to isolate them bumps up my odds, even if it's only by 1%. I've practiced every run with this in mind. Alright, Ranger down. Okay, wave 6 coming up. The very scary wave 6. We've got to take Frailty 2 here. No other options, unfortunately. These are impossible. Let's do it. Oh my god. Where did that major come from? I couldn't even see him. That was a very scary double south. I'd be upset, but I'm glad to be alive, I guess. If I had more time to react to that major, I could have maybe responded to that situation a little different, but I think it's a good teleport either way. Wave 5 PB. I'm here to give you a quick dose of non-stressful footage so I can catch you up to speed. I was starting to gain a little confidence. Wave 1 was no longer scary to me, but I just couldn't get the modifiers I wanted going into Wave 2, multiple times in a row. That is a generationally bad set of modifiers for me. I also noticed that if I had one more decent run, I was going to run out of prayer potions to keep my inventory full, so to not waste time, I killed about 130 Moss Giants for a 1 in 99 Renar Seed, and let it cook in the patch while I went to do an attempt. I'm going to give this run a go, and hope I get something good on Wave 3. Ooh, yes, we got Doom. Bit of a scary spawn for Wave 3. I really don't like this. Nope. It's Wave 3. Ah, it's such a brutal Wave 3 spawn. Alright, we've got Frailty here, so it looks like I'm committing to this run. I'm very low on bolts, so I hope we make it deep here. That's really good luck. I've got Doom now. That's Blasphemy, Frailty, Doom. 3 good modifiers leveling up. Oh my god. Just got a hit point level and a combat level. That was so loud. I'm so on edge. Oh my god. This is the modifier jackpot. I actually hit it. I have Manta Mayhem, I have Doom, I have Blasphemy, I have Frailty, I have 4 modifiers leveling up. This is all I need to get to Wave 12. This is like the best chance I've ever had. I have to take some risks on this run. I have to. Good spawn. Double south. Oh my god. I can feel my heart in my head. Hard part done. Let's finish these guys off. Time for wave 6. Taking Manta Mayhem 2 here. Come on, good spawn. I think that's good. It's the best spawn ever. Reinforcements coming out, but I'm already praying mage on this guy. Oh, that's so beautiful. I would have had to do an off tick here, but now I don't have to. Major's dead. Now we deal with the stack, which looks pretty easy actually. Let's lure this melee out. Nice and easy. And that is one of the scariest waves in the Colosseum. Wave 7 coming up. It's already an achievement. I'm gonna take Blasphemy here. Wave 7 is easier than what I just did. Nice, and a good spawn. Got a stack and our first big major. That guy in front of the pillar is the Shockwave Colossus, one of 2 brand new NPCs that comes this wave. He attacks with magic with a 15 tile range. And coming out now is the last NPC in the Colosseum. This is the Minotaur. He comes out as a reinforcement starting on wave 7. He attacks with melee, but more importantly, he heals other NPCs, which means he has to be killed first. Okay, Minotaur dead. I once again went completely non-verbal here in the moment, so I'm attempting a pillar rotation to break up this stack. To do this, you stand on the center tile in front of the pillar. When I run out, the ranger will have line of sight on me 1 tick before the major, allowing me to prayer flick them safely. This is the timing I need to hit to take no damage on my way to the other pillar. Then, once the major is touching the pillar, I have to rotate back around before the other 2 monsters see me at the same time. I feel like I've said this a lot, but I've done that like 100 times. And none of them felt like that. Okay. Now we've got a bit of a tough one coming up. There's another combat task. Collecting these bad boys. Wave 8 is harder than wave 9. I'm gonna take Doom here. Good spawn. Nice. Minotaur didn't get stuck. Alright, now to deal with the stack. The solution here is very similar to the last stack we saw, except this time you want to step 1 away from the middle of the pillar so that the ranger will be on a 1 tick delay. Okay. Alright. Ranger down. This is a very easy rotate. Since the Manticore never saw me, it never had attacks charged up and ready, which makes this a lot easier. Gaining some confidence. And we're on to wave 9. Ooh, yes. That's really good to see. We got Relentless. Relentless is the last of my safe modifiers to be offered up. It essentially makes armor useless, but most mistakes will do damage anyway. The tank armor has been a good confidence booster on the walk so far, and this eliminates that. Okay, good. take this thing back to safety. Oh, wave 10. I'm so shaky. Oh my god.
What's a wave that, like, if you get to it, you'll be happy, like you'd call it a success?
Anything past 6, probably. There's just so many, like, tiny things that can go wrong. Getting to 10 or 11 would be a miracle. That's like 2 hours of perfect gameplay and a ton of luck. Waves 10 and 11 will now include a Minotaur and a Serpent Shaman in the reinforcements. This small change leads to the 2 most mechanically difficult waves of the run. If you roll the 50% chance for the Shaman to come out before the Minotaur, you'll likely have to time an off-tick between the Shaman and whatever you're fighting. Could be a lot worse. It's not double south. Oh my god. I was ready to off-tick. We hit the 50-50. Now we rotate southeast. This is gonna be a little scary, but it's doable. Just need to be aware of the high javelin. Well, now I have to do it again. Oh my god. I actually can't believe it. I actually can't believe it. Wave 11. Gonna have to take Relentless 3 here, which gives me 0 defense and a guaranteed death chance if I make any mistake. Might as well take off the tank armor. Not gonna need it anymore. 1 good spawn. That's all I need to see the boss right now. Please, just 1 more good spawn. Anything but a double south and I will do it. A few hundred milliseconds of bad judgment, and you're done. I don't know how I just took damage. No way I just choked it on wave 11. Oh my god, I hate this man. That was a perfect run! No! Oh my god. Holy shit. Focus, 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 focus. Just focus. Oh my god. Oh my god. My head. My average heart rate was over 120 for the last 5 hours, reaching a peak of 161 during the Manticore walk. Oh my god, just get me to the boss. 1 stack left. 1 stack left. It was an absolute miracle. 3 monsters between me and the final boss. No, no, no. No, 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 no. I threw it all away. I ran from the wrong tile. I realized I ran from the wrong tile. I don't know how did I do that? How did I let myself do that? I threw away the best run ever. If I ran from this green tile instead of this red one, that day would have ended a lot differently for me. 3 monsters away from the final boss, on a wave I never thought I would get to, and it all just crumbles from underneath me. This was the same exact stack that I had on wave 7. I just solved this. Pure delirious decision making led to a last second change in my starting tile. I don't think I've made this mistake since I first started the Colosseum. The only silver lining, albeit a big one, was that I caught my mistake immediately and was able to teleport with about 100 milliseconds to spare before this range projectile landed, which was a guaranteed kill shot. This one is gonna sting for a while. I never even expected to make it to wave 11, but to just be that close. At least the account's alive, I'm happy about that. I was completely out of supplies, and I spent the rest of the night farming Renar seeds and getting bolts and sitting in complete silence. I didn't really think there was gonna be a day 2. I was just gonna put it all out there yesterday and get the quiver or die trying, but I woke up today pretty anxious that I have to go back in there. I think I justified all the stress thinking it was just one day. And no matter what happens after today, I don't have to stress anymore, so there's that. One thing was clear on day 2. I was not the same player I was yesterday. I was shakier, even more clouded. I no longer trusted my own judgment, and getting the same luck I had yesterday was gonna be a daunting task. Looks like we're starting day 2 off with a claim as our first run. So close to 1,000 hours played. 1,000 hours with no damage. We're at 984 right now, we might just hit it. Oh my god, what? I don't even know what happened there. Did I click on a bolt to pick it up? I'm watching back the footage. I unintentionally clicked on a bolt to go and pick it up, trying to path over there, and it despawns while I'm halfway there, so my character stops in its tracks. Insanely dangerous during the walk, and it happened to stop me on the tick that the Major was attacking, and I was already praying Mage. If the Ranger was still alive, if this was one tick earlier, the melee gets to hit me here. This was an insane bullet dodged. I can't even express how lucky and unlucky this was. Getting to wave 11 gave me a big confidence boost on the first 4 waves, which, don't get me wrong, they're still insanely stressful, but they're all about the fundamentals, which I felt like I mastered even under pressure. Some more evidence to this is that my average heart rate during these waves fell by about 10. What did suffer was my confidence against everything else. Over half an hour to get to wave 6? No problem. South Manticore spawn, teleport. I guess I could also call this tactical. If the first few waves aren't feeling like a threat anymore, maybe I should teleport away until I get a lucky wave 6. That's the biggest brick wall in all of this. So I kept doing exactly that. And I'll spoil it for you, I didn't take any damage today because I never made it past wave 6. What is that? What is that? Turns out playing scared keeps you alive, but doesn't give you much of a chance at a deep run. And the longer I played like this, it was just a matter of time before a tiny mistake like the bolt despawn deletes my account, and I'll regret not giving it my all. After 2 straight days of Colosseum with no damage, I was going into my 3rd, but I had a new energy about me today, and it all stemmed from rewatching some day 1 Colosseum footage. You may remember this. This was my first ever wave 5. And that is a 1 tick early prayer switch. I tanked that range hit with no tank armor. I didn't even notice. I had an 18% chance to survive that, and for some reason, I did. This was a gift that I do not intend to waste. I noticed that my brain under extremely high pressure can throw routines and logic out the window. I'm breaking that habit today. 2 days of this has made me sharper and more determined than ever. I start every day with several hours of practice before going into the Colosseum on Low Life 109. And on this day, I did not 1, but 2 damageless Colosseums back to back. I also did about 30 straight minutes of Soul in the simulator without a single mistake. I was ready to make this day count. The setup is a little different today. I'm bringing the Obsidian. This is going to give me 1 max hit on Soul, and I want it today. I'm going to take calculated risks. Not going to do anything stupid, but I feel good today, and I'm going to stop letting 1 mistake define me and what I think I'm capable of. Let's do it. Nope, needed a good spawn. My modifiers suck. Otherwise, I would run around. Alright, Wave 6 opportunity here. I only have Doom and Blasphemy, so this is looking very, very bad right now, but maybe a good spawn will make up for it. Very good spawn. The modifiers might be a different story. We'll see. There we go. The last obstacle. Oh, finally. Finally, the Wave 6 brick wall is over. And we got Relentless. We have a savior, one modifier I can take. I could in theory take Myopia, but Relentless is going to be a lot better. Good spawn. I've got to off-tick this stack, which that Wave 11 has definitely made me paranoid about, even though I've done it a million times. There's a way to off-tick this one in a way that I can't possibly screw up, so I'm gonna do it. We corner trap, we wait for an attack, and we move over. It's a little weird, but at least I don't have to even think about screwing it up in any way. Manticores are so bad for my heart. Can only take Relentless here. The modifiers are not looking great. Good spawn. I've been preparing for a Manticore, and it's just not showing up. I was ready. I was ready for it this time. Can't believe I got a range level, honestly. But now I can stop being scared of it. Okay, we lure out the Minotaur. Manticore is gonna charge up. That's actually good that it's mage first. That's ideal. Alright, and now just a simple rotate. Nice, Ranger dead, and now I just have to split these two up, which is very easy because he's mage first. Alright, wave 9 coming up. We really need a good modifier. We're saved. Oh my god, we're saved by Manta Mayhem. This run might have legs. Insanely free spawn. Wave 10. We're almost back. Okay, I have Manta Mayhem here. That's my saving grace. I have to take it. Could get really dicey into wave 11 though. Please, please no double south. I'll do anything else. I'm ready to off-tick the reinforcement, just please. Yes. Good. If I stand here? Yes, the major goes over. Oh my god, it's perfect. The major did come out first, but since I was on the south tile here, it got caught on the Manticore, and now it's stuck behind the pillar. Should be a very easy wave from here. Okay, we do a mage lure out here. Nice, beautiful. That's basically the entire wave solved now. My god, I can feel my heart in my throat, dude. We're back. Wave 11. And I have a modifier I can take. Ooh. I'm gonna take Relentless 3 here, which means... I mean, I just can't get a double south. That's the only thing. If I can dodge the 13% chance, I really think I can do this. I will do anything but a double south. Please. Please, one time. No, 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 no. That was it. That was it. I'm so sad, dude. I'm so sad. That's the worst spawn in the game. 13% chance, man. And 2 wave 11s on this account now. That's crazy, 2! At this point, Lowlife 109 has completed 100 damageless Colosseum waves across the last 3 days. The idea that I could survive so long was unfathomable to me 2 months ago. And as I stepped into the Colosseum for what would be my last attempts of the night, I still had a tiny glimmer of hope. South Manticore, but it's actually okay on this wave. I can deal with this. You're gonna be off tick. Oh, that was insanely stressful. That's how I know I'm locked in right now. I recognized they were going to be off tick, stayed confident, I didn't teleport. Oh my god, no, 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 oh my god, no, 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 that's how I die, that's how I die! After all that, that's how I die. That's how I die. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's how I die. I can't believe it. A fire cape, 116 Barrows chests, and over 100 Colosseum waves. The account that survived it all, across nearly 1,000 hours, ended by one accidental double click. My prey melee never turned on. Lowlife 109's miraculous year-long run was over. And shortly after, the password was deleted. Nightmare mode can't end like that. Hitting a quiver with 0 damage would make Lowlife 109 one of the most impressive accounts ever made on the game. Can't end like that. When you write your own story, you have the power to craft the perfect ending. As a chronic perfectionist, one of the hardest things about this journey was accepting that it can't have one. It drove me insane. I couldn't bring myself to log into the account half the time because I've been chasing that perfect ending. The God run. Afraid of the one mistake that was going to ruin everything. It's the first time in almost a decade of making videos that I realized I can't guarantee a perfect ending. The Colosseum was never even supposed to happen. 5 months ago, after posting episode 20, I asked for a Jagex confirmation that my account had never taken damage, because I was going to retire the account next video, do a couple combat achievements, and leave it perfect. Because in my mind, it was the only way I'd be happy. For an entire year, I misunderstood this series. Nightmare mode was never about defying death or being afraid of it. It was about conquering the fear of not doing enough with the one life you're given. The best version of myself isn't the one that doesn't try. I set my sights on something so beyond what I thought I was capable of, and I came so damn close. That's what Nightmare mode is to me. Taking the leap, becoming the best version of you with the time you've been gifted. It's not a perfect story, but it's real, and it's mine. Also, to me, you were one of the most impressive accounts in the game. And I'll always remember that.